Hmm. Good.
Hi, everybody. We are live and complaining about white people today. That is where we are at. Happy Saturday. Happy 7 p.m. on a Saturday, and welcome to my channel. I'm Gwenna the Winner. We're going to be doing some writing sprints today. We might actually be productive. I know. Surprise. Surprise, everyone. Miss Jena, will you take it away with your intro?
Sure, I'm Jena Gordon, and I can be found on Instagram and YouTube as Jena Gordon Writes. I write erotica, and my debut erotic trilogy of novellas is debuting on Amazon later this summer.
Yay! I am so excited. So excited. And
Me
my
too.
offer to CP still stands.
Yes, one thing erotica's writers never struggle for are editors, beta readers, CP. List is enormous, so I'm blessed with support.
I love that. I love that. It's kind of hard in adult fantasy because there's so much bad adult fantasy out there. I feel like a lot of people don't want to spend the time reading it, you know, and improving it and putting their heart into a work that doesn't necessarily belong to them. But we got deep real quick. Let's say hi to the comments. Hi, JC. Hi, honey.
JC, hi.
JC, if you feel like hopping up here, there is a link, by the way. You have that link.
JC, peer pressure.
Peer pressure. Hi, Essie. Welcome. Welcome back, Essie. JC did the wonderful moderator thing and told everyone to like and subscribe. Please like and subscribe. And also go read my book. Go do that. Do that. Do the thing. Hi, Nick. Nick is excited to get some words tonight and hang out with everyone on this lovely Saturday. Not at the parentals tonight, so I'm free to do writing and eat cinnamon coffee bread. I need some cinnamon coffee bread.
I mean, where do we go for cinnamon coffee bread, Nick?
Nick, can you ship that to me? Can you overnight it? Let me know if you can overnight it or if you need my address. Hi, Jen. I love this. It's Gwenna, Jena, and Jen.
We need to start a band.
We do. We do. Here we go. Coffee bread does sound so good. The way it just sat in the chat and here with us. You know? It is so good. I'm going to make some hot tea. Why are you doing this to me?
I mean, it's getting better and better.
Now
Truly
just glorious. You know what? Hey, thanks. I put it on right before because I figured if I had a full face of makeup on, I wouldn't fall asleep.
That's an interesting technique.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a mind trick. I do my hair. If I put on mascara and lipstick, I'm staying awake until I wash it off my face, right? But if it's just eyeshadow and foundation, I will go to bed with it on. And it's bad. It's bad for my skin. Can't do that. Got to go full face.
Let
me see. You both look beautiful. Oh, thank you. No, it's just a coping mechanism. Just some mind tricks that you have to do. Here we go. I would love to, but I think it wouldn't make it. Oh, there you go. Yeah, it probably wouldn't make it from Florida. But my kitchen, we try and make random treats because my partner loves to bake. I'm the cook, they are the baker.
What a beautiful relationship.
That is a beautiful relationship. You know what you could do instead of shipping it, Nick? You could just drive it up here. I'm just saying. You could literally just like hop in the car and 13 hours later deliver it to me at my doorstep. Need to meet up at some point so I can throw treats made by my fiance. Yes, you can. You can bring me all the sweets. I would love that. Hi, cool gamer. You're awesome. Welcome to our chat. Welcome to the friendship, the show, the friendship, we're here. All right. Jena, what are you going to be working on today, honey?
I'm getting ready to start a new chapter, and we'll see. I know the general outline. We're going to find out if it's going to be snorkel sex or scuba sex. But I have to make some awkward text messages to my dad, who was a former scuba instructor, before I can really proceed with the writing.
Some awkward text to a father.
Yeah.
That's going to be interesting. I'm really invested in how that turns out for you by the end of the night.
I will let you know.
Thank you. Thank you. No, I haven't had a drink tonight. And if I drink tonight, you will watch me fall asleep on this stream. So instead, we're sticking to water.
Well, I'll have this for you then.
Please have 2 for me.
Okay. Because that's the kind of friend I am.
I appreciate you. Yes, ma'am. I'm going to be working on doing the new outline for this fantasy series that I shouldn't be working on. I should be working on the big one that I told you about,
Yeah.
the big one that's on Vela right now. Yeah, I'm not. The words aren't flowing quite as easy as for this book 2 of this fantasy series. So we're going to do a new plot outline overarching the series, because the one that I have done, it's a little old. Some things are wrong in it. So we're going to go ahead and rewrite it, updated that. Let me see. It looks like you're having 3 drinks tonight, Jena, no less.
I am happy to support my friends in any way that I can.
Thank you. Emotionally. Thank you. Appreciate that. Where are we on a vulnerability scale today?
I have autism, so I tend to warm up as I go.
Awesome.
So right now I'm at like a 2.
I learned something about you already.
So I think if we went like in increments of 2, like we start at 2, then we go to 4, then we go to 6.
We could get there.
Yeah, I think that works for my sensibilities.
Let me go ahead then and rearrange these questions real quick to warm us up. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. And then if we get spicy, we're going to do that one. All right. So we're going to start with our favorite ice creams. My favorite ice cream is mint chocolate chip.
Has it always been mint chocolate chip?
It has always been mint chocolate chip. But if I'm feeling some sensitivity in my jaw, because I have like some teeth that need to be pulled, but I can't afford a dentist. So like, we're just going to see if my teeth fall out. If those are feeling particularly sensitive, then I will go ahead and go for just like a normal vanilla, but with hot fudge drizzle. Mm-hmm.
Indeed. I think as children, the mint can be a little overwhelming unless it's the lime green. Mm-hmm. Is that what you liked as a little Gwenna?
As a little miniature 4-year-old Gwenna who had just decided her favorite name to be called was Gwenna and was going to go by Gwenna for the rest of her life. That little vision of me. Yes. Unless it was lime green, I did not think it was actual mint, and you were lying to me.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. It took until about 13 or 14 years old before I was willing to try a mint that did not have green dye.
And were you pleasantly surprised? Satisfied?
I was pleasantly surprised. It was some bougie ice cream from somewhere that a temporary relative, like someone my father's family had married into and then divorced later, they had brought that home. And so I was willing to try it because it was bougie ice cream. Hi, Tiff. Hi, honey. Surprise. Jena, tell me about you. What is your favorite ice cream? And give me the story behind it.
Yes, I used to like Smurf ice cream, which was, it was basically raspberries and cream because it was blue raspberry with marshmallows in it. And
Mm-hmm.
so it was cotton candy blue with marshmallows. And so as a small child, that's what I enjoyed because the Smurfs were a thing in the early 80s and I was a thing in the early 80s. And then in the fourth or third or fourth grade, we had a substitute teacher who told us her very favorite ice cream was butter pecan. And I worshiped the ground she walked on. And the first day that she was a sub for us, I went home and I was like, I cannot live a normal, healthy, and happy life until I have some butter pecan ice cream. And it was sort of determined that no, that flavor profile is too mature for you, and I wouldn't let it go. And I tried it, and I loved it. And to this day, my favorite flavor is butter pecan.
I love that. I love a good butter pecan. To be honest, it is. It is a little scrumptious. What about you, Tiff? Dive right in. What's your favorite ice cream?
As my cousin likes to say, I am basic because my favorite ice cream is vanilla bean. And I have no story for why it's my favorite ice cream, except for the fact that I feel like, number one, being basic is not an insult. Why are you trying to be so different? And number two, vanilla bean works because you can put anything with it. You can make whatever you want. You can like make a sundae. You can add like nuts. You can add candies. You can make slushies. You can do whatever. And that's why it's my favorite, because I can do whatever I want to with it.
It is a very flexible ice cream. Ooh.
Yeah.
But if I had to pick another favorite, it would probably be cookies and cream. I mean, not cookies and cream, cookie dough. I don't know why. I just really and I'm very specific. It's either got to be Baskin Robbins or it's got to be Breyers. I'm like, no, Breyers is good too. Edie's, that's the one.
Oh, I remember Edie's ice cream, the slow churned kind.
It's called Edie's. I literally thought it was Eddie's.
I think it's Edie's. Is it not Edie's?
I thought that's how they pronounced it in commercials.
I have no idea.
I've been pronouncing it Edie's for 30 plus years. So I really hope it's pronounced Edie's.
It is whatever it would like to be. It's good. That's fair, what it is.
You're talking to the girl who said, oh God, what was that word my mother absolutely trashed me for the first time she heard me say it? I pronounced epitome as epitome.
But that's the reasonable thing
that's
to
the
do.
Epitome?
Epitome. Exactly for 18 years of my life, it was epitome. And my mother was like, this is what I get for having children. So smart, they read books, but too dumb to talk to people.
That statement is right up there with, have you guys ever seen The Mirror Has Two Faces?
Yeah.
It's one of my, probably one of two Barbra Streisand movies I actually like, because I'm not a huge fan, God forbid. But I know, it's Clutch the Pearls. Everybody gets really offended when I say it. But one of my favorite lines is when the daughter's getting married, and she's like yelling at the mother, and she tells her if she doesn't act right, she's going to have her birth certificate blown up as a Christmas card. And the mother looks at her, she's just like, I never should have encouraged you to speak. And that kind of reminds me of your mom's statement.
That's some shit my mom would say. That's why.
But yeah, she would always, that's like one of me and my aunt, we do that all the time whenever somebody says the wrong thing. We're just like, I never should have encouraged you to speak. Because that's like our favorite line of the whole movie.
Harsh though it may be.
Harsh though it may be, right? Essie is working on her Incan Empire play, which, by the way, Essie, you have told us about before, or you have mentioned before, but you have not told us about it. I would like to know more details about that. If you have any details, please feel free to drop them in the chat. I would love to hear about it. Jen likes a classic Rocky Road. I approve. Breyer Snickers ice cream, and we've got to vote for butter pecan. Here we go. Nick is an outlier. He likes Oreos. Oreo ice cream. That cookies and cream style.
Hey.
You can put Oreos in vanilla bean.
You can.
Yeah.
You can. Briar Smart, Carb Smart ice cream. Carb Smart. And I think that's because she mentioned she has diabetes. So it helps keep everything in check. And she makes her own low carb whipped cream, which is pretty cool. I know.
What?
I know. So she can just feast on it. And I'm like, that's a smart way to feast. I know. Mint chocolate chip. Thank you, Essie. Here we go. And then the one in the Spider-Man ice cream and the Superman ice cream.
Superman ice cream had bubble gum in it, and it was like primary colors. And I think the Spider-Man was like red and blue and had marshmallows and chocolate chunks in it. Yeah, there was a whole cartoon branded Baskin Robbins collab going on in the 80s, and it
it must have been something. I grew up in the era of purple ketchup, right? That was our weird food. Y'all never had purple ketchup?
I had outgrown when they came out with green ketchup for the first time. I think I was in high school, and I was like, I don't
These are two of my favorite colors, and I'm confused. What?
If you ever have purple ketchup, I'm going to need you to videotape it so I can see your reaction. It tastes like ketchup, but you're not going to like it.
No.
Essie liked plain chocolate until she was 17. She's now 29 and all about that non-dyed mint chocolate chip. Mm-hmm. And Morgan's here. Hi, Morgan. Morgan has agreed to come on tomorrow with us. I know. I'm
More
so
juicy
happy.
stories. She's wild, you know.
Here we go. I do want more juicy stories out of her.
And I have tea tonight. Darn.
Oh, I thought you meant like
mint chocolate chip.
Tea.
No,
now I'm disappointed that you're
good
just
tea.
talking about the beverage. The brewed beverage instead of drama.
Not the good tea. I ain't even put liquor in that one.
Apparently Barrett's confused. And hi, Barrett. Welcome to my chat.
Because we've been texting, and he said that your stream was at 8 o'clock our time. But then you said, no, I'm on. And so I texted, and I was like, I'm confused. He's like, what are you confused about? And so then I went to the thing, and that's how I ended up here. And he's like, and I go, no, she's on now. And he's like, what?
Yeah.
And so that's
7 to 9 my time.
I'm confused.
Yep. 7 to 9 my time is 6 to 8 y'all's time.
Yeah, we're lost. Us Missouri folk, we don't know anything. As my father says, we go to public school.
I went to public school too, babe. And listen, if I hadn't spent the past week of my life adding every one of y'all's events to my calendar, but in Eastern time, so like I've converted every one of your Central time like videos over to Eastern time to put it in my calendar so I wouldn't miss it. I would be so lost. So, I've got practice now.
Yeah. So, you know, I have no idea. But yes, we're confused in St. Louis. We don't know what time anything is.
Here we go. Yeah, Nick, you work on what makes you happy. JC, I can't believe you've never had purple ketchup.
It's weird. Stop saying it.
Morgan, you stood by the green and purple ketchup. Morgan, I'm so happy that you and I are on the same page.
You know what? I'm not disappointed. I'm just hurt.
Yeah, and the blue French fries that you would dip them in.
What is wrong with you people?
I missed blue French fries, as in from purple potatoes.
No,
like,
they're just dyed blue.
I feel like they just dyed them blue because they're weird.
Because kids weren't too good to die of poisoning back in the 90s.
You know, to be fair, the 90s were a wild time. Like, truly wild. We are
All
20
that dye
minutes.
is for your hair, not for food. Like, let's just not.
Yes.
They thought it was.
Yes.
They thought it was for food, and they
Mm-mm.
thought
Mm-mm.
that it was
No.
JC. Gross. All of this is
Yeah.
gross.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm,
I'm
mhm.
worried about y'all taste buds. Don't talk about my food preferences anymore.
Listen, I was just a child being fed what was cheap.
Yeah.
And when that purple ketchup went on sale, you bet we had purple ketchup in our fridge instead of the red ketchup.
Yeah.
That was exactly
Mm-mm.
it. It's a fun color, so the kids will eat it. Except for when it's separated, because then it's separated into two different shades of purple.
Mm-mm. I'm gonna need you to stop talking. I know it is your channel and your stream, but no.
We'll go ahead and sprint.
Okay.
I will put you in your own timeout.
I love it. All right, we're going to start with 25. That sound good, y'all?
Yeah.
Awesome sauce. See y'all in 25.
Hi.
How are you?
I think we survived our first round.
I'm really glad. Did you guys get anything done?
I didn't write any words, but I was in contact with my dad and my best friend about scuba certifications and intricacies there.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm a little bit better able to approach the beginning of the chapter for the next sprint.
Awesome. Awesome. Tiff, what about you?
I'm not exactly writing today, so I didn't get any writing done. I watched a video on marketing on a $0 budget. That was interesting. And then I am, because if Barrett was in the chat, he would make fun of me. I have a tendency to change things at the last minute, and I just decided that I didn't like the prompt that I was using for my Scrivener presentation tomorrow, so I'm rewriting the whole thing.
Oh,
Well,
wow.
I'm rewriting the outline of the whole thing. Like, there was no actual story. Because I'm just showing people how to outline and how to use Scrivener to put everything together. So I'm still using the same main characters, the same plot, or the same setting and all that stuff. It's more, originally, I think my prompt was something about, like, it's still a plot about vengeance, but it's just a different origin. Yeah, Morgan knows too.
Don't give yourself extra work.
Oh, I do it all the time. I text them that's why we have the master class thing that we do, because I text them all the time. Like, I'll be like, I just wrote 5,000 words. I don't like it. I think I should start all over again. And they'll be like, when's your deadline? 2 days. Stop.
Margaret wants to know if you're in the same tailspin she is.
No, because I actually thought I've never really loved the prompt that I was using. And so I knew that part. And I kind of thought of the change to it like a couple of days ago. I've just been so busy with other stuff that I haven't had a chance to really like think about if I wanted to change it or if I wanted to do something. And so this is the first time that I have like a block of time that I could maybe sit down and do it.
Okay. All right.
But in the sense of the title of my workshop, Scrivener in 60, it should not take me that long.
I'm going to hope it works out well for you. I know you're going to carry it through and be great no matter what you do with the prompt. So I'm not too worried about you. I'm worried about the stress you put on yourself. And that will be where I clarify that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's fair. Okay.
But in the sense of, pot and kettles.
You're right.
Not real positive, Gwenna.
Don't attack me.
I mean, in the sense of do as I say, not as I do.
You're right. You're exactly right.
Because if I can recall correctly, somebody texted me and was like, oh, I don't think I could do that because I just picked up an extra shift. But it's okay because I'm just going to sleep in August.
That's exactly it. I'm just going to sleep in August. That's me.
I'm just saying.
I ate dinner and I'm halfway through a giant slice of ice cream cake. So that's going to be me munching on this for the rest of our little chatty chat. A little therapy as we get into it. Where did we see? Because you look greatest when you feel like a damn queen was a quote by Margaret. Not necessarily by Margaret, but y'all know the situation. Margaret's switching some stuff up. So do what you do best. And you're going to be best. And that's it.
Yeah, I don't have a fancy Canva thing either. So,
yeah. Thank you guys for getting the bot.
Like, it seemed like today almost everybody had all of their presentations recorded. I didn't even record mine, so I don't know.
You are really good at being live, though. So I know. It is flattering. Yes. So to our point, Margaret, do not cave. Do not cave. Hi, Claude. Hi. Hi, friends. I have so many friends in the chat today. Do not change anything, Margaret. All right, let me go through the rest of my starred comments. Hi, Adele. Hi, Lauren Adele. So welcome. So happy to have you guys. I like scaring people. So, you know. Gonna take it as a compliment. Appreciate you. Jen got some actual words done. Congratulations, Jen. The productive one. Productive one today. Love to see it. Listen to some people talk in the AWC Jitsi room. What is Jitsi?
Okay, because that's what I had to do yesterday before I came on your stream. They have these rooms. They're kind of like old-fashioned chat rooms, if you will. Like I'm trying to think of a program that used to have them. But anyway, you don't have to download the program or the software or anything like that. You don't even have to set up an account. You just click on the link and then it asks you to put in your name and you click the thing and it asks for access to your camera and your microphone. And then it just puts you in almost like a kind of like a Zoom room, if you will, where everybody's just there and you can either have your screen on or not. There's like a little chat box. You can do private chat, stuff like that. And people were just talking about the day and the presentations that they liked. We got into a interesting conversation yesterday in ours about oh darn, because at first we started talking about pen names, and it was a good conversation. I forgot. Sorry. But yes, that's what they're setting up. It's just a space for people to go in, and they have like some of the people who are presenters in there, and so you can ask them questions or talk about different presentations.
Cool stuff. Awesome.
Moderating, so if somebody does anything crazy, we can kick them out.
JC got 259 words. Awesome, JC. She is making hamburgers for dinner.
Oh.
I know. Makes my leftovers sound like trash.
I had chicken nuggets earlier. That makes you guys feel better. They were frozen chicken nuggets.
Hey. Were they dinosaur shaped? Were they the dino nuggies?
No, they're just regular. Please. People in my house, if I brought in shapes, they'd be like, what are we, 2? No, just plain shaped chicken nuggets.
They have no fun in life.
No. I know strange folks. I can't argue.
Let me see. Oh, hi, Jen. Yes, I know. It is very good. It was a $60 ice cream cake for my stepfather's birthday. I know, but it's a damn good ice cream cake. It's the best ice cream cake I've ever had in my life. It was really good. We had it for my sister's wedding as well. That's where my mother got the idea. And now the whole family is hooked on it. So.
It didn't melt?
No, you keep it in a deep freezer. Keep it in a deep freezer, and then you just cut it off as you want.
For the wedding, because normally they have like the cake out, or did they just bring it out when the bride and groom went to slice it?
Oh, we only brought it out for dessert. Okay. It was a really small wedding. Super small. It was literally my mother's house. Yeah.
Just thinking as a photographer.
Yeah, I figured. Oh, here we are. I just want both of y'all to remember this conversation when you are trying to get on me for trying to do everything all at once.
Again, in the idea of say what I do or do what I say, not what I do.
Margaret, when you unmute, I hope you do hear that we are wishing you the best for your 500 words for the day. Let me see. And Essie, tell us more about this play script. Tell us more, Essie. And then Margaret did pre-record hers, but she doesn't want to ramble or get nervous. Her practice run was an hour and a half. You'll be all right.
Really? She was fast. Oh.
Cool. So let's go into the 4 out of 10 question.
Okay.
Yeah. Vulnerability check 4 out of 10. You've woken up on a random morning and found yourself magically turned into an animal. When you look in the mirror, what animal are you?
I'm very,
Huh?
I'm very torn.
I can't hear you.
I'm very torn.
She's
You're
torn.
torn. Do you want to be half of one animal and half of another?
No, these wouldn't work that way. Well, because my first instinct was cat, because I feel like they, get to laze around
Mhm.
and like they get to have the attitude, and people still love them, which I appreciate. Um, but I really like horses, and there's like the freedom of riding and everything. You get to pee standing up.
Mhm.
Like
I
there's
love that you put
chill.
pee standing up in there. Like cats don't pee standing up.
I mean, they do, but they have to go into a litter box, whereas horses are just kind of like, whatever. Take me or
Horses
leave
are just like, let me pressure wash this area for you.
me. Right. This is like,
I love that imagery.
So, yeah, but at the same time, I always feel like the most connected to butterflies because I feel like I'm always changing and evolving. And I have like lots of like butterfly things in my room and in my house and different places. So, and one of my favorite quotes is butterflies are God's way of reminding us that change can be beautiful. And so like I'm torn.
I love that.
A flying cat, horse, butterfly.
See, that's like I don't think it would work to merge them all.
Butterfly was Lauren's second choice. Yeah. What about you, Jenna?
I have history of doing intuitive work in the past on totems, and I used to work with my students on finding their totems. In fact, the only nonfiction book I have left on Amazon under my legal name is about totems and how to find yours. So I have a totem in place, and the animal that represents me is a lioness whose name is Victoria, which is interesting because I don't like people named Victoria. I've never met anyone named Victoria that I like. And so I was really irritated when I asked this lioness what her name was, and she was like, "It's Victoria." And I was like, "No, it's not, bitch. Try again." So my instinct is to say a lioness, but the spirit animal of my oversoul group is an elephant named Shiva. And so I collect elephants, but I'm wary of wearing elephant attire and stuff out and about because I'm afraid that people will think I'm a Republican. So
That's a legit fear.
I don't like the lioness because she's named Victoria, and I don't like the elephant because she might be a Republican, or people might think I'm a Republican.
I love it so much.
My spirit protector is a wolf named Patrick, and I have a great blue heron that flies me in and out of my dreams. And I often will start a dream and I'm getting off of the back of a blue heron, and then the dream starts. And then if I'm not awakened unnaturally, the dream will end when I'm getting back on the back of the blue heron. And his name is Bob.
Bob
the blue
All
heron.
of her people have names.
Well, I learned their names over time and working with them and asking them their names in meditation. So Those are the animals in my totem that I'm aware of and familiar with and have worked with over time. But the animal that represents me, that I guess I would turn around and see in the mirror, is this lioness named Victoria.
For those who don't know, Jena is a member of a Native American tribe, and is like, this is not, you know, it's not some random white girl talking about her totems. This is a woman who knows her shit.
I am Hawk Clan, so there's probably a hawk in there somewhere. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so what about you?
I'm a penguin, I would have to say. Yeah, I love penguins. They're my favorite animal. You wouldn't guess it because I have everything turtle, and that's because turtles were my husband's favorite animal in childhood. And so they always remind me of him, and they remind me of like our relationship, our marriage, our bond. So I wear mostly turtle jewelry, but I love penguins. And I've got like at least 3 or 5 penguin plushies in this room, somewhere around here. I really relate to how adorable they are on the surface, clumsy they are, absolutely clumsy, and then third of all, how incredibly violent they can be, right? Oh, you didn't know? Oh, penguins are horribly violent
penguins,
creatures.
They're horribly violent. Down.
They're awful.
I don't know about the violent, but I can relate to the clumsy. So I don't know. Penguin may have to get in there somehow. Now I've got a horse, cat, butterfly, penguin thing. I don't know.
I was like, I'm cute, I'm clumsy, I'm crazy. Penguin. All of these things. So that's probably me.
I would love to ask Jen, because I used to say butterflies were my spirit animal, and then someone told me that was disrespectful to Native Americans, and you know, I'm Black, so therefore everybody in our family's been like, we've got Indian in our family, because that's the thing that it seems like every Black family says all the time.
Every white family says it too.
Right. So I'm just curious, is that offensive to Native Americans, or would you know?
No, it's wonderful to feel like you have that connection with the earth and earth spirits. So no, that's not offensive at all. If you want to claim that for yourself, you go for it. And I do think that there is, you know, we're all descended from indigenous African folks. And indigenous American Indians have some correlation from the land bridge from Asia. That's why a lot of American Indians have almond-shaped eyes or single-fold lids. But my grandmother, as far back, just recently as the 1960s in the civil rights movement in the United States, she was raised until she was 12 that she was Black Dutch, that she was South African, because in her area of rural Oklahoma, it was better to be Black than be Indian. And
really?
She was a colored person. So she grew up listening to jazz and blues and all of this because she had to go to the colored places. And she didn't realize that the language she was speaking was Choctaw. She thought she was speaking Afrikaans. She thought she was South African until she was about 12. Yeah.
Wow.
So I do think there's a strong correlation between American Black people and American Indian people. And it's surprising that it has gone on that long. So yeah, you have spirit animals. Go for it. The earth is for everybody. No one gets to claim it.
I love that. Like I said, and I only say recently, or some of my family's decided. I'm still claiming that we're Native American, because I remember my great grandmother telling us stories about like people that she remembered that were Native American. But then everybody started doing DNA now all of a sudden. And so none of my cousins' DNA is coming back with any Native American blood.
Wow.
But, like, I remember the stories. And then one of my cousins was making fun of me because I was watching some documentary, because I love documentaries, and it was a thing about um, settlers in the uh, like colonization time, like when there was only 13 states, and how they were pushing, the Native Americans away and off their land. And I was just like, I don't care what your DNA test says, because my Native American blood was boiling watching it. Like I was connecting to everything that was going on. Like, I don't care what your thing says. And she's like, you were so ridiculous. So I'm like, no, if you'd have watched it, like, you would have felt it too, because it was just so, it was heart-wrenching to watch. And I mean, just the way that it was almost like they were just begging for, just like, just let me stay right here. We don't want to be part of you. We don't want to mess with you. We just want this. And they were like, no.
Yeah.
And I was so offended on behalf of everyone. I was just like, no.
Yeah. It's a lot of entanglement.
Oh yeah.
My siblings and I are currently working towards getting our registration of the Muskogee Creek tribe. My both sides of my family have Creek in them. Specifically, my mother's side, Muskogee Creek, and my great grandmother was Creek Indian. So you could just look at her and tell, right? But that being said, it is rightfully a long road to do to prove your actual history, and to go through that involvement, and to go through the ceremonies and everything, and actually connect with your history. So it's super interesting. I will also say, though, like, I feel there's a difference between genuinely connecting with an animal and a spirit animal and the earth in that way, and then just casually saying something along the lines of, oh, I'm feeling flighty today, so a bird must be my spirit animal, right? Like, that's cultural appropriation. Like, there's some lines there that need to not be crossed, right? But that being said, it's also weird. Like, in my own mind, I'm not sure what my actual spirit animal would be, because even though I have Creek Indian in me, when I was very young, and I mean like 3 or 4 years old, my brother, my sister, and me all lived with my mother, and my mother was going through the separation process with my father, and we were helped out greatly by the local Cherokee tribe and their local shaman and his wife. I mean, they were giving us meals, they were giving us clothes, and we were really adopted into that tribe as children. We grew up separate, but as children, we were very close with them and their entire family. So it's a little weird being being an American. I feel like people in other countries don't necessarily have this cultural confusion that most Americans go through, right? It's very, very odd. But let's get into the comments real quick. Where do we find the totem book?
So it's on Amazon, and it's under my legal name, and I think it's called Finding Your Totem in 30 Minutes or Less. And it's not a great book because it is guided meditations. And at the time, ACX didn't exist when I posted it, so I couldn't create it as an audiobook, which is the better format for it. So yeah, I think it's called Finding Your Totem in 30 Minutes or Less. And every now and then I'll get an email from Amazon that is like, here's your 30 cents. Someone bought your book.
Wow.
And I had taken down the rest of my nonfiction work. One was about the correlation between your astrological sign and your totem animals, that there's often people who identify with their astrological sun sign tend to have certain animals in their totem, and it was about that. But so finding your totem in 30 minutes or less is on Amazon, I think, still as an ebook, but it really needs to be read out loud and recorded so that you can actually make use of it. So
Yeah.
that's why I don't tend to promote it very much.
Okay. Well, if you ever do get around to doing that audiobook, please let us know.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, be happy to do some kind of promotion, at least on my channel. I would love to do that.
Thanks.
Morgan Lee says that she would wake up as a wolf, which I think is very Morgan Lee, because not only is she cute and snuggly, but she could probably eat your face, but you just don't know. You just, with Morgan, you just don't know. Like, she's a sweetheart, but there's something in there, and it could be the teeth.
But don't piss her off.
You know? JC says she's a unicorn, and no, JC does not have to be a real animal. I love that you woke up as a unicorn. I love that. Lauren says an owl. Jen says definitely cat. And Nick also says cat, but mostly because his fiance tells him all the time that he's really like a cat in his normal day. Which is iconic, and I love that, because I tell my husband that at least once a day, which might be why I get along with you so well, Nick. Here we go. And Essie finally told us about her book. Finally, about her script. All right, so it is about the end of the Incan Empire. So it's dealing with a lot of depressing death stuff, but also getting some happy scenes in there. It's also about duels between half brothers, which I think is really cool. I think that's juicy. Yes, that's some meaty. That's some meat to it. I love that, Essie. Love that. If you ever want to talk about your book, please let me know. But she says that she likes octopuses and lobsters as animals, but that she has the stubbornness of a goat, so she doesn't know how all that sorts out. But also, she's a fan of orcas.
Nice.
I know.
Is it unlock the secrets to your totem in 30 minutes or less?
Something
you are
like
hunting that down.
My real name is Kara.
Yes.
Okay.
She found you so quick.
I did.
Tiff, will you drop that link in the best, Tiff? Thank you.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And then it looks like Morgan says her great-grandmother was half Native American, according to family stories.
I believe it. And there's so many people who are Black identifying or African American identifying who have a lot of biomarkers for Indigenous Native American. And because they were lumped together, that makes a lot of sense, since the late 1700s, that we would have these coinciding. But there's so many just gorgeous Black people, especially where I live in Oklahoma, and they have these sort of monolid eyes and these fabulous cheekbones, and it can just sort of see it. That, like, I don't know if you know this or not, but you got some Indian in you.
If you haven't figured it out yet, honey.
Yeah, we're cousins somewhere.
My great-grandma Edna was like that. I mean, I remember growing up sitting on her knee and reading her recipes, right? Because I didn't really learn to read from my family, but one of the first things that I ever read from my family was my great-grandma's recipes, because she was this fantastic cook, and she supported 7 kids off her home-baked goods. Wow. As she went through her 5 different husbands. Like, she killed a few were in jail. If it worked out. But she cooked.
So you survived.
Was your grandmother my great-grandmother?
I know, right?
Because I think she had about 5 husbands, and I don't know if she killed a few, but she did bury them.
Anyways, yeah, you took one look at her and you're like, Edna Brown? Brown. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Am I wrenched?
I think you should be wrenched. there's no reason why you should not be wrenched. Give me one moment to
I
make sure that
dropped the
you're.
link, but it doesn't look like it's showing up as a link.
Hush. No. Don't tell me that. TRS lifestyle. You commented earlier, didn't you? I'm trying to find you in the chat.
If I'm not wrenched, Nia, see, you're not the last.
Oh my god, you weren't wrenched.
See, Nia?
I'm so sorry.
They always come for us last.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Tim, I'm so sorry. I'm never gonna live this down.
And I mean, earlier I was trying to get rid of a bot for you and like
I know.
everything. And
I know. You were so good to me, and I betrayed your trust, and I betrayed you. I don't know what to say. I can't make this up. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna need a moment. Okay, I'm back.
Thank you for keeping that moment brief.
We all feel appropriately ashamed, Tiffany.
I am.
Okay.
Margaret got 200 words, and she wants to keep doing her work, but the interesting discussion is so tempting, though. So tempting. Nick, something about having any discussion with you does remind me of trying to talk to a cat. I don't know why that is, but every conversation I've ever had with you, I'm like, oh, he's a bit like a cat. Just pops in, pops out, has what he has to say. Hi, Nia. Hi, Nia. Let me see. Nia says her great-grandmother was Native American too. Never claimed it or mentioned it because people always that.
Oh, because people always say that.
People always say that. Yeah. Yeah, I never claimed it either until we did our history recently, and my aunt and her kids are now part of the Muskogee Creek tribe. And so now we're going to go through with that. Then she did her DNA, and it's true enough. People always say Black people are just making it up or it's false.
Really not.
They did, that's what everybody told us. And I'm like, I remember her telling stories. Even my aunt, she remembers because she thinks that she's like, I don't remember exactly which tribe, but she thinks it's either Cherokee or Blackfoot. And so we were trying to figure out, well, how would we even go about trying to find it or find any information, because it's hard enough doing genealogy just as Black, let alone, trying to figure out where it verges with anybody else. And then my cousin did her DNA, and it came up that there was no Native American blood. And they were like, oh, well, maybe they're making it up. And I'm like, I don't think so.
Tiffany, to me, you look like you're one of the 5 civilized tribes. So, especially being in Missouri, start to look there.
And well, but they're from. My great grandmother was from Arkansas.
Same thing.
Okay. So yeah, that's the entire area that got moved into.
Yeah, so you're looking at Cherokee, Chickasaw, Choctaw, you're looking at a lot of different possibilities. And these records were destroyed because no one wants to be remembered in history as people who stole land from indigenous people. Mm-hmm. So a lot of our records were destroyed, and you can't go back and prove it. And the DNA is so intertwined that it's no longer separate. It won't necessarily show up that way on, aren't those DNA tests matrilineal?
23andMe.
They're matrilineal, I think.
One of my cousins, one did 23andMe and Ancestry, and the other one I think just did Ancestry. Mm-hmm. But as I pointed out, literally their parents are siblings, and it came up that the two of them might be close relatives. And I was like, you think?
Yeah.
So I don't fully 100% believe that you're giving me all of my information.
Yeah, and because it's only, I think it only goes along RNA, so I think that's matrilineal, and so it leaves off a whole nother half of DNA, and it's not telling the whole story. So I always say if you feel like you have a connection to some indigenous Native American traditions or that's part of your verbal history, you're not going to offend anybody if you name it and claim it for yourself, because it's more likely that it's true than that it's not true.
Well, I did think about, because I know that we do have some tribes that are, I don't know if they're necessarily local, but they are in Missouri. And
Mhm.
so I figured, in the sense of like, I couldn't find some of my family's records until I went down south. Like
Mhm.
maybe if I went to one of them, it might be a better starting place than just, 23andMe.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, up here in Appalachia, you get a lot of white people saying, "Oh, my great grandmother was a Cherokee princess."
Mhm.
Just that same phrase over. No, Tiffany, I know you've heard it. I
Yeah.
know you've heard that phrase before. And it is so thick in the Appalachia area, particularly because we all grew up in Cherokee territory, right? Like literally, Cherokee Trail of Tears is right outside my door.
Yeah.
Like it's right outside. So you have that land connection, but the number of times their results have come back and it's straight European, and I mean straight European. They just get a little brown in the summer because they got some Italian in them. You know?
I do also claim Italian, but that's just because of my love of pasta. But it has
I
nothing
think
to do
that's
with my
also
actual
true.
life.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And there's also something else, just real quickly. I don't want to dominate the conversation, but I mean, obviously, I have an extremely high Northern European gene load. But I grew up speaking the language and having these rituals done and doing these ceremonies and all of this. Um, my CDIB card, my certificate degree of Indian blood, says 1/256th. I'm
Oh,
actually a quarter. I'm actually a
Wow.
quarter. And because when these enrollments were happening, it was a bad thing to be full blood, my ancestors halved their blood quantum. So my grandmother or great grandmother, who was full blood, said she was half blood, and it just kind of went down the line. So sometimes when these services like 23andMe, Ancestry.com are looking at records, and you see, oh, well, my 3 times great grandmother was only an eighth, so I can be hardly any at all. That's just what they claimed.
Mm-hmm.
For their safety, for tax purposes, so that they could marry white people and retain their land.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some discussion in Indian country about blood quantum and what makes you an Indian, what makes you white, what makes you indigenous, and what makes you modern, and where do we draw those lines and who gets to say. Because there could be a full-blood Choctaw living in New York City who looks like an Indian but has never done any rituals, doesn't speak the language. And then there's people here in Oklahoma who look like me, have a very heavy Northern European gene load, but they feel very close to it and they've grown up
mhm.
in the culture a little bit. But if you look at their CDIB card, it might not show that they have much blood quantum. So I think your cultural sensibilities and your genetic sensibilities can be at odds with each other. And only you get to measure the amount of Indian you are in yourself.
To your point, as well as Jenna's point earlier about how as Americans we're seem like the only people who do this, like, well, how much are you of this and how much are you of that? Like, it's so funny to me that, like, you're saying it's such a small part for you, and yet you have, proven you have your card for your Native American. And then, like, back in the day, what was it? It was like if you had one drop of black, then you were black.
Exactly.
And it's like, but now people are like, no, you have to be like 5% Native American to be Native American, or you have to be like this to be this. And it's just like, it's so weird how we quantify
Yeah.
where you should be, racially. And it's just like, why can't you be who you are?
Yeah.
Like, why does it have to
Also,
be
the difference is there between racial identification and cultural identification.
Oh, yeah.
Huge in American culture. Huge. Just Eva says, my mother talks about her grandmother, great grandmother for me, spoke of her parents' murder due to race, and nothing has confirmed that yet. She hasn't done DNA. She also mentioned that Mama Maggie said similar things about identifying as white in order to retain land in her family.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do to get by, and you can't blame them.
Oh, there's plenty of people who did.
Yeah.
Decades upon decades.
And there's people like me who are a lot white, and we get to enjoy white privilege and everything that comes with that.
Yep.
And our tribe is one of the tribes that does not do per capita payments. So whatever we make off of the Indian casinos could be split evenly, and everyone in the tribe could get a check every month. But there is some discussion that has held it up about, well, the people who are higher blood quantum should get more because they look a certain way, people treat them a certain way. And so they're at a disadvantage, and they need some backfill that I don't need because of the way that I look and the way that I walk through the world. And so within Indian country, there's this juxtaposition of, yes, we recognize you speak the language, but you don't look like me, so your experience is a little bit different. And that's an odd thing, because typically in any American Indian tribe, difference isn't how the tribe works. And difference is accommodated and adjusted for, and it's not a way to separate oneself. It's something to be folded into. And so there's a lot of hotspots in Indian country right now about per capita payments and blood quantum and white privilege, just how you happen to look and how that lets you walk through the world and how other people respond to you on a daily basis, and how damaging that could be or not be.
That's a really powerful discussion to have. Yeah.
I know in the African American culture, there's always, conversations of light skin versus dark skin, going eons back. But I've never really thought about it in the sense of like other cultures having those same interracial, if you will, kind of discussions of, well, what does one thing give you as far as privilege versus the other, or, like those same kind of tug pull kind of things of having those things. But yeah. That's very interesting.
I love it. We have to hop into it at least one more sprint here. I really love this conversation, and if we want to revisit it, we definitely can with our remaining time. Cool?
Cool.
All
right. Ooh, she's got champagne.
Oh, she's so good with the wine, Tiff. She's so good with the wine. What glass is this, Jenna?
4.
Yay!
I don't have another bottle. What you'll see after the next sprint is some vodka.
Nice.
I love it.
I have vodka, but I have tequila. Maybe I need to go rock it out.
Join us. Yes. I was telling everyone over at the AWC, I was wearing my AWC shirt earlier, and I got queso on it. And so Margaret picked up that in one day I've had both queso and champagne.
Nice.
And it is correct that my life is really good.
I'm not mad at that.
I love it. I'm living
at iced tea and frozen chicken nuggets. You're killing it.
I don't like to brag, but
But she sips on champagne with her queso. So she's a high class lady.
yeah.
All right, let's sprint. Bye, guys. Ring-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling. Welcome back. Hi, how's the vodka?
It's very, very dirty. Lots of olive juice and olives. Yes. It's delicious.
Delicious. Okay. How did we do? How did we do, ladies?
Did you write anything, Tiffany?
More outlines. I did more outline. I got through let's see, what is it? I got through the beginning part of the 3-act structure that I needed for my presentation, and then I went into I'm basically re-outlining the same story 3 times. And so I went into doing it in a 7-point plot structure. So I'm about halfway through. 3.5 points, I guess you'd say. But it'll be done by tonight, and it'll be good by tomorrow.
There you go. There you go. You know, I'm proud of you for how much effort you put into it to make it as best as you can be.
Same.
We're going to focus on that instead of stressing about how you're overworking yourself. We're going to choose to be proud of your accomplishments.
Well, and this is like the last part that I have to do. And I was going to do this like on the or during the workshop time, but because I want to have time for questions, like what I'm doing is I'm filling it out for the most part, and then I'm making little like notes of like which like to go over how you fill out the section, like the sections, but I'm only leaving one part to fill out. But I already know what it is, so all I have to do is type it in. So that way it'll be easier to kind of explain and show like how you can do it more so than take up the time and be like, so you'd go in here and you'd answer these questions and then you type this and then you do this. I could just show it. So that's the only reason I'm doing it ahead of time. Also, because I can't think of a that fast.
You're such a pantser.
Like, let's be real. It takes a lot for me to plot, number one, and then to do it, like when I do it, I know what's gonna happen in the the sequel to the book that I wrote for NaNo, and it's still taking me. I think I started on that stupid outline like December, and I'm maybe in the last plot point before Act 2.
Wow.
Plotting. It takes a lot for me to plot. Like I do great for like brainstorming and just dropping notes and then figuring it out like where everything should be, and even more so just kind of doing scene cards of what it is I want to write in the order. But to actually like this is a challenge for me to put these plot things in here and outlines and stuff. Like at one point I had to look up what the doggone point was so that I could figure out what to write. Because I was like, what's the pinch point? I don't. Something happens.
Yes.
I had to look it up in order to remember what it was. I was like, good gracious.
And that's why all my craft books are within arm's reach of my bed.
So yeah, this is a challenge for me. I may actually understand. I may learn plot and structure just by doing this workshop to teach everybody else Scrivener.
You got this, honey.
So much out of it. You're going to do great. And yeah, I think what you need is a big old glass of Jena Gordon filthy vodka.
Yes.
Okay. I don't have vodka. I was just telling them that. So I'd have to do tequila.
Any port in a storm.
Yeah.
Or I do still have my Fireball whiskey.
It's not gone yet?
I think you might need more than just the one, sweetie.
Okay, in all fairness, I really just bought this because of an influencer that I watch, and they're always talking about Fireball whiskey. And I was like, okay, I'll drink it one day. One day's not here yet.
It'd have been gone in a week for me.
It's like 13 years later. You
Hi,
should-
Barrett.
That would be a different world. Whitley, who does not know that? I even maybe could still do all of her little arm movements, but you wouldn't see it because y'all know with my green screen, like
I know.
rarely can
I wasn't feeling pretty, so I went for soft light. And by soft light, I mean having no light in my office.
That's okay. You can be Ghost Barrett tonight.
Yeah, that works.
Hello, Ghost Barrett.
My body has not seen the sun in more than 2 years, so you're not wrong.
I love that.
No.
I got 721 words. So yeah, I know. Thanks. Jenna, did you write anything?
I didn't. I did some more research and learned an interesting story about my parents.
She writes erotica, y'all. I'm pretty sure we might want to leave it at that.
I love a good story time.
We absolutely need to leave it at that if you ever want to be monetized. I didn't know the story.
Take my stall off.
Here's the thing. Do you think you can come up with something slightly more creative for your own book?
Oh, yes. I just needed the puzzle pieces. Yeah.
Did everything fit into place?
Yes. In many ways, things fit into place.
Thank you, JC.
We should do a dirty, like, suggestive stream where the entire stream everybody has to talk in like suggestive sentences.
But
an innuendo stream?
Yeah, an innuendo stream. Thank you. Just
Nice.
You don't already do those streams?
Yes,
How
but we should
Saturday.
adopt it as a theme.
Yeah.
Nick finished his vlog for next week. Awesome sauce.
Nice.
Great job, Nick.
Oh, shit. What's it, Nick? That file.
Hi, Essie. Essie got a few more words on her Incan Empire play script. She's adding stuff to Act 1, so it's a bit longer. Awesome sauce. Awesome sauce. And JC got 342 words. Wonderful job. Great productivity, everyone. Oh, still have Richard on for the innuendo stream.
Yeah.
You're not wrong.
Also, Margaret left us. Bye, Margaret. If you're still here, then bye. And I would love to have you on. I don't think I have any of your contact information, but if you ever do send me your contact information, I will send you my stream links. That is no big deal at all. Would love to have you, ma'am. Here we go. Yes, you can make anything an innuendo. Anything at all.
Somebody who she said that was her superpower.
Yeah.
Was that she can make anything sound dirty.
Oh, like
We just randomly throw phrases at her, and she actually was pretty good.
It is now 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If anybody needs to hop off, this is the time I have promised to stream till. I'm feeling one more spread. I know. He came late of his own accord.
I was late. I'm sorry. I had to shower. I've been lifting. I was sweaty, and you didn't want to see this.
I'm happy you're here, Barrett.
No, God, we're not even close to finished. No, we just loaded a van to take down tomorrow. A van and our car.
Okay.
Which was actually more work than I thought it would be, and cleared out half of our storage, and we have accumulated.
Wow.
So you'd just be
That's
amazed
a lot.
at the shit you can accumulate during a pandemic.
Your books, though, behind you do still look like they're there. I thought that was what we were packing yesterday.
Because we have Tuesday. So
Okay.
nothing will go away until we're done. And then I won't have anything live until 2 weeks. Except for when I drop into these, and I'll just be from like my dining room, my bedroom, my bathroom. Hopefully not my bathroom. That's too personal. None of us need to get that close.
I love your dining room, though. I would take your chairs.
You got to take that big table, that big ass table.
No, I just want the chair.
Wow. No dice.
I told because he said he was. Didn't you say you guys were trying to
The
sell it?
table I want to get rid of. It's the table I need to get rid of.
I'm
Someone
like,
pick the table, I'll give it to you for free.
I live in a speakeasy. My father has what 3 dining room tables and 2 kitchen tables. I'm like, we don't need another table.
You running like a poker circuit? Like what's going on over there?
No, it's an okay. He had one dining room table. I don't remember whose it was. And then when my mom passed away, I brought my like her dining room table. And so we had that. Well, when my godmother passed away, he was like, "Do you want your mom's table or what? Because I want her table. We could just get rid of your mom's." And because I'm stubborn and conversations around my father and my mother's relationship tend to annoy me, I was like, "You're not getting rid of my mother's son. What is wrong with you?" And I was like, "No, I'm never going to." So I'm not even myself. But I was like, "No, you can't throw it away." And so therefore he still brought my godmother's dining room table here. And then he also brought the kitchen table when we already had a kitchen table.
Got you.
So yeah, we just have a bunch of tables in our house.
That's a lot of tables. And to answer Nia's question, I'll be doing it from here, but just our dining room. Because, yeah, this will be packed up. So the dining room is staying for staging purposes because this has to be sold.
What's being sold?
The apartment.
Oh, I thought you meant the stuff in the office.
No, not my office stuff. I'm going to pack it after we finish our stream Tuesday. We can do this after. We're like, this does not need to be. We'll talk after.
So we've agreed on one more sprint?
Yes. I'm revising. I'm going to work. Like I'm inspired, so I'm sitting to work.
Good shit. All right. So Jena, now that you're into your filthy vodka there, ma'am, how are you on your vulnerability scale?
I'm open reading the question. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm at the prescribed 6 that I thought I would be.
Mm-hmm.
But if others go first, I tend to raise my number as they go. So you ask the question that you want to ask, and we'll go from there.
You got it. I know these two. They're down for anything.
Fisting elbow deep.
I had a hair in my mouth. I can't believe I almost bit my tongue when you said that.
I thought
that is the title of the chapter I'm working on.
Jena and I in sync.
Yes, I love it.
There's an energy, and I like it.
All right. So a 6 would be, what is the nicest thing anyone has ever said to you, preferably with why at the end of it? Why is it the nicest thing anyone has said to you? Mm-hmm.
Is this
I'll
for
go
now?
first.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'll go first this time. It was probably the time my husband said, "I love you."
Oh.
Yeah. It's something about knowing that someone else loves you helps you believe that you can love yourself and that you are worthy of being loved. And for someone like me who's always struggled with that, mind blowing. The nicest thing to be told you are worthy of being loved.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Probably the nicest. Right up there with like, you have great hair, you know.
Yeah.
I do have great hair, but it's nice to be told that.
Yes.
We all want to be reminded of our strengths. So
yeah.
I have great hair and great tits and a pretty mouth, and that's all that I need to get through life.
That gets you far.
It does. It does. It does get me very far. All right.
All in the same area.
Tiffany, what's your nicest? Jena, what's your nicest? What do you guys got?
I don't know.
Really?
Well, I mean, I'm sure people have told me nice things. I can think of nice things. I'm just not the nicest. I'm like,
Like, I can think of one, but it's legitimately not heartwarming. I don't think like Gwen is. But I legitimately can think of instantly the nicest thing anyone's ever said to me in the moment that it was said to me. But it's not like heartwarming.
It doesn't have to be.
Oh, okay. So I was at a political event for my stepdad for his like third re-election or something. Or no, it might have been inauguration even. It might have been inauguration. Very drunk man stumbles over and says to me after the events happening and the dance has begun, he says, you know, you don't look nearly as fat as you do in person as you do on TV. And I remember I went like this. I was like, that is the nicest thing anyone has ever said to me. Because up to that point, I had such body issues. And like when you live a part of your life in front of people, you know, and especially when you're a kid, like going from like teen years onward, it's very awkward. And so to do that on television and radio in front of, by the way, all the people you live around are who's voting for your loser family, usually, by the way. A lot of pressure. And I just remember that drunk guy coming up to me and being like, you just look so much better in person. And I was like, sir, you're amazing. Get yourself another free drink. Like, thank you.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
That is fantastic. Yeah. That reminds me of probably the funniest thing someone's ever said to me, which was I was just being myself and someone looked at me and they said, you're like a bump on a pickle. And it happened in like third grade. And to this day, I relate to being a bump on a pickle. And it just informs my entire sense of humor. I'm like, is that bump on a pickle level of funny? If not, don't say it.
I love that you chose to take that as a compliment.
It felt like fun.
Yeah.
I mean, that is definitely better than pimple on an ass. I love where that energy came from.
It was just this friend I had, and they were always really weird. And so they said something weird to me, and I was like, that's fucking hilarious. That's the funniest thing. I think of it at least once a year. At least once. I reflect on that moment. A bump on a pickle.
Yeah.
Bump on a pickle.
I know.
That's a metaphor for a guy I almost dated once. And then I went, nope, there should not be a bump there. And I thought, nope, we're going to keep moving. No, go ahead. You have to have the light on Jesus. I'm trying to not let them see how bad I look. Okay. We're about to sprint. Yes, you can vacuum.
All right. Either of you two have anything? We can always just let this marinate while we sprint again.
Like, I can think of nice things people have done.
Okay.
It's
not a hard and fast question.
I don't know. Which makes me a little sad. I feel like I should have something.
Oh.
Tiffany, I think you are absolutely beautiful inside and out. You're welcome.
There you go.
Thank you. There you go. That's the nicest thing someone's ever said.
There you go.
I mean, the only other thing that I could think of, and it's kind of like Barrett,
now.
But it's not, you know, like it doesn't sound nice, but they clarified. And so, but my cousin told me I was a bitch.
Oh, that's the nicest thing you've ever said to me.
Well, no.
Yeah, I love being called a bitch.
Well, because I was going through something and I don't remember what we got into the conversation about, and he told me that I was, and I was like, wow, thanks. And he's like, but I think of that as like somebody who like doesn't take anything off of anyone and is strong and determined and like works their ass off. And as someone who'd been told I was lazy for a lot of my life, I was like, oh, yeah, I can own that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the only other thing I could really kind of think of. But yeah.
Jena, do you want another 5 minutes to marinate while I go through the comments?
We can go through the comments. I have a short answer.
Okay, what's your short answer?
I feel good when people preface something with, I've never told anyone this before, but I know you're not going to judge me. And then they proceed to tell me something that should be judged. But I like that people feel safe with me, that they preface something with, I'm telling you something I've never told anyone else before.
Mhm.
So
I
I
love
That's
that.
very sweet. That's someone's innards.
yeah, I like they feel safe.
Yes. Oh, let me mute this. My husband's goddamn vacuum. Like a serial
At 8 p.m. at night Central Time.
serial killer.
Your neighbors must love you.
Can't imagine why they hate us.
Laura Nettle says 2 self-publishing and marketing books by Joanna Penn arrived. So she's about to read and get ready for bed. Those are Successful Self-Publishing and How to Market a Book, 3rd edition. Nia says she's just getting started. Bummed this is the last one. My apologies, Nia. I go to school tomorrow, 6 a.m. bright and early. So, huh?
That's a hate crime.
I get up at 6. School starts at like 7:30. It's an hour away, so I got 30 minutes to get my head straight. Nick says the nicest thing was that one of his classmates, my classmates, started saying I had a Nick nod during our sessions. And they said anytime they needed validation, they would look for my nod because it meant someone cared for them.
Yeah.
Oh.
You're going to be such a good therapist, Nick.
Mm-hmm.
My God, Nick, that just in my heart, in the feels, Nick. In the feels. So good. This is how I know you're a cat, because I also looked at cats for validation. And Laura says, I love when my parents say I'm proud of you. That is a nice feeling. It's definitely a nice feeling.
Wouldn't know anything about it, but I'm sure it's beautiful, that feeling. Sounds nice.
I think my parents try to overcompensate for the fact that neither of them heard it a lot growing up. So anytime I made a B, I was I'm so proud of you. It was nice. It was real nice. Yeah. I never really had like self-confidence issues about my academics growing up or anything like that, you know. It's always sweet. Nick says, I won't lie, I teared up when they told me. Don't choke.
Well, it's that bubbles that's getting you, the chunks. Tiffany doesn't trust it.
Morgan, you missed the question. What's the nicest thing someone's ever said to you? All right. And then in our true fashion of prepping you for the hardest one, I will throw this one up and then I will actually go ahead and find another timer because I had just closed out of that timer. So give me 1 second. Barrett, what are you working on? You said you're revising?
Yeah, I'm going to do some revisions on QLM because I was sitting at the U-Haul place waiting on the van for like 45 minutes. And so I opened my file and like read and made some notes while I was waiting to be productive. And so I have the thoughts in my head and I was like, I'll just apply them instead of cleaning our house like a crazy person.
How close is Ricky as you say that?
Not close enough. It's still going on.
Ricky's just trying to be productive.
It's called mania, and let's not feed it.
I'm so sorry you have to live with that. Thank God my husband has anxiety instead. Let's sprint. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Hi. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. That was our last sprint of the night. We just have a couple things from the comments. Nick's cat had to do 2 crunches to get up to lick himself. And Jenna, you were not the only one who related to that. I also related to that. I have to roll on my tummy to get out of bed. And I think that's okay sometimes. You know? Let me see here. Eva has a donut.
Ooh, what kind?
A twisty one with glaze.
Ooh, good.
I know. I'm very excited for her.
Me too.
How did you guys do on your sprint?
Good.
I did well. I didn't get any words written, but I got 2 new words discovered.
Oh.
Oh.
Tell us
Delighted about that.
the words, or are they dirty words?
No, they're not dirty words. One is actually a good substitute for someone who might be a politician. And a word to say that they are just full of bullshit is to say that they are feculent.
Feculent.
Feculent. Yes,
Feculent.
they are full of feces. They are feculent. And I just think that is the most delightful word. You could use it on a Huffington Post article and say, that politician is feculent. And you could write it and it wouldn't offend anybody. And it's a real word.
Yeah. Oh my God, I love that word. I'm going to find a reason to use that.
Feculent. I think it's lovely. And
I mean, my in-laws never know what it means.
That's right. And that's the other thing is people won't necessarily know what you're saying. Right. And the other is piscatorial.
Ooh, that one sounds kinky.
Fish.
It's a what?
Anything to do with fish, piscatorial. So if you say you're going out on a piscatorial endeavor, you could be going fishing. And no one would know what that meant. But it sounds very grand, and I love it. And I got it out of my highly selective thesaurus for the extraordinary literate. And this is a book of delightful words.
I need that. Did you get that on Amazon?
I got this, I think, before Amazon existed. I've had it since like 1996, I think. But yes, it has all kinds of wonderful words in it that you would never necessarily think to use. And so I discovered in that sprint that someone could be feculent and that anything to do with a fish would be piscatorial. And
that's delightful knowledge.
That is.
Truly delightful.
Every day.
And that totally beats my naughty and nice thesaurus.
Oh, I
Your what? One more time? You're naughty and nice.
My naughty and nice. What is it? Naughty words and nice words thesaurus.
Oh.
Sounds
I bet
like
I would learn just as much. Yeah, bring it out.
Yeah.
I love it.
That's one of my closet books. I keep it on my Kindle.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
I got a few pages.
A few pages revised. Okay.
Well, I mean, the revisions weren't much, like a sentence and then some delete. A lot of delete. There's a whole lot of delete in the notes so far. But yeah, no, I'm good. I'm feeling good with it. I think if we get off, I'm probably going to keep going for a little bit. Because like I said, it's one of those moments where you're like in the flow and it's peaceful and quiet.
Pointed look into the dark. With a pointed. That was
It's
one.
naughty words for nice writers, thesaurus. That's it.
Naughty
Oh,
words for nice
I like
writers.
that.
Yeah.
Deidre came into the chat. Hi, Deidre.
Hi.
Nia had a slice of key lime pie and was outlining chapter 11 of her potential/probable Vela. JC got 363 words for a total of 964 words for this stream.
Go,
I
JC.
love it. How were your hamburgers, JC? Please tell me.
Hamburgers? Oh, that sounds delicious.
Oh no, I know. I got 855 that time.
Wow.
I know. Thanks. Appreciate it. I surprised myself as well.
No, that.
It was a genuine surprise there. Everyone is loving feculent.
It's a great word.
So good. Here we go.
I have to get. Yeah, I'm gonna find that because
it's true, Eva. You can relax, but I will mod you.
I feel your pain.
Poor Eva has been busting it today. I saw her in every stream on AWC today, which was not all of them because of hacking reasons, but I got to a lot of them and they were good.
You know, and I was in one workshop, and I think it was the only one Eva was not modding because it was Mama Maggie, and her computer started acting up, and she's like, "Can someone take over?" And I was just like, "Oh," and the one that Eva's not in.
Help, girl down.
Oh no. Eva wants to know,
QLM.
what are you?
I was sitting, career like me. So I was sitting in U-Haul picking up the van. I don't know if Eva was in here when I told the story. And like 45 minutes, and I got an idea for this revision problem at the beginning of the story where it sucks. And I had an idea for how to make it suck less. And so I'm working through that now. And I was feeling inspired. So I came home and decided to work on it. But it didn't look good, so I kept the lights low. So
and this is that link.
Oh, good. Thank you, Eva.
There we go. Only a mod in 3 streams? That's like 6 hours of work.
All 3 of your streams. I'm like stalking you. This weekend, Deidre, it started Friday. But don't worry, they're all in a playlist on Shannon's channel. So you can watch the replays forever, whenever you want.
Thank you. I did good today. I did good. I made up for not writing since Monday. Oh, wow. That was a lot. That was a lot of words. All right. Let's dive into the question. Would y'all rather I go first, or would you all rather go first? There was hesitation, so I'll dive in. The question is, tell me about a time you felt truly alone. This is our 10 out of 10 vulnerability question of the night. I have to say, I felt truly alone very often growing up. I grew up in a not great household that was further amplified by the fact that both of my siblings had untreated issues, both with mood disorders and being on the spectrum, right? So they never were given the ability to succeed. And part of that means that instead of learning how to come together with coping mechanisms, we only tore each other further apart. So I was very much the closest to normal in my family and was therefore the most alone, in that I was the black sheep because I actually had some friends and some, I could cry. I had feelings that I wasn't necessarily scared to express. So that made me feel alone quite often growing up. And I would say the first time I ever truly felt not alone was after a couple years of living with my husband.
Yeah. Never alone again.
I know. That's basically the right. What about you guys?
I mean, I'll go. I'm not scared of this question. I would say lots of times throughout my life as well, but flipped. So as a kid, I was never alone. There were always people around. it was just I don't know. And my parents were divorced, but then remarried, and then my dad kept like having issues with his personal life, so lots of instability there. But always people and characters around. So like when I became an adult, I relished my alone time. But I would say there were several key points in my life where I felt really, really alone. The first time was when I was in DC as a young person, like starting out. I didn't have any friends there, and I became a total workaholic, and it was not healthy and not good. And I thought I was doing good things, but I really wasn't. The second time was when I quit drinking. You really don't realize how alone you are until you stop doing something that is really social, that most people assume connect with social outings, right? People stop inviting you to things. They start feeling like you're some delicate flower. Like anyone who met me who thinks I couldn't sit in a situation and probably make myself feel comfortable needs to re-meet me. But you stop getting invited to things and people kind of treat you differently. And then the other one would be chronic illness. Right before I was diagnosed, I was really, really sick. I hadn't seen people for months and months and months. And then, you get diagnosed with this thing and it's like, you really don't want to talk about it with people. And then afterwards, the pandemic, I still am in a bubble. Tiffany's the first person I saw in years other than my friend Bree and my friend Jordan, and Stephanie's 4 or 5 friends over the 2 years have come to see me one at a time, under different circumstances. And that's really unusual. Ricky and I used to host dinner parties once a week and see people, for gatherings a couple times a month. So it's just, lots of times in my life as an adult. And I don't mind being alone though. Like I do think there's something to be said for being alone, having as a child never been alone. Like that's my answer.
I can piggyback on that because I grew up alone. Well, not so much alone, but I was an only child. So I had to learn how to, hang myself. But I would have to say, and again, I agree, there's been numerous times that I felt alone. But the two that probably sticks out are right after my mom died, because I had no siblings to go through that with. I had, family, but like my grandmother was mourning her daughter, like my aunt was mourning her sister. And so it wasn't really like the same conversation, being in. And then the other one, and this one happens fairly often, is that I have extremely overachieving family, which surprisingly my therapist just told me I also fall into this category. But I generally tend to, because they're very linear, and so they're very, like, this is how society says you should be successful and you should proceed through life, and you should, you go to college, you get the degree, you get a job, you work, like 50 years, all that. And I mean, I went to college, and did all that stuff, but I just, like, I took a different tour through adulthood. And so sometimes when we're in a room and they're having great conversations about their jobs and all the different things that they do, and like I had one of my cousins tell me one time that I'm the only person they know who decided to make a hobby a career. And so
Wow.
those types of moments tend to kind of make me feel like I'm the only person in this conversation. So I'm like, okay, I'll just hold my peace.
That is hard to do.
Wow. That's a lot.
That is a lot. I'm so sorry, babe.
Oh, I don't, like, I know that they respect what I do, relatively, but it's not the same, because there's always the conversation of, but if you got a job, type of thing, or different things like that. So yeah, it's an interesting dynamic. Because the fun part is they're the family that always makes me feel like they want me around. Whereas my father, when I told him that our writers retreat got pushed back, he was like, but I already have plans. Can't you go away for that weekend?
Oh.
Wow.
So he's the one that always makes me feel like he wants me to disappear, but he doesn't quite say the same type of stuff as sometimes they do. So it's a very weird dynamic in my family.
Honey.
Yeah, heavy.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to bring people down.
No. I mean, it's a heavy question. It is a heavy question.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you feel complete with that thought?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Would you like us to skip you, Jenna?
Yeah, I'm gonna sit this one out.
Not a problem. Absolutely understand. Let's go ahead and go into the comments. Morgan says, right before I was diagnosed with Crohn's, I was basically dying, not knowing what was going on. Alone at college, everyone ignored my cries for help. It was awful. Never felt more alone than that.
Yep.
Chronic illness is often the crush. JC says, when I was 13 and my sister, who is 9 years older than me, had left home to go move to Oklahoma with her then fiance, and she left me alone in that house with my abusive mother. I felt like she abandoned me, and the abuse only got worse, and I couldn't tell anyone what was happening, even though all my friends knew because they saw the bruises, but I felt like everyone just left me.
Shit.
Yeah.
I often hear stories like that from abusive households of when the oldest sibling, who was often the only parental figure truly in their younger siblings' lives, when they leave home, the younger siblings often grow to hate and resent them, and they lose that bond forever, even though the older siblings was doing what they had to do in order to survive themselves. When they finally do make the choice to, after years and years and years of abuse and of putting other people first, make that decision to put themselves first for the first time, it often triggers a chain of events that permanently separate siblings that prior to that were pretty close. So unfortunately, I feel as though that's a very common story is in abusive households, that loss of the sibling dynamic because of everyone maladapting in their different ways.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Deidre says, I was never truly alone growing up. I was always surrounded by people. I grew up in a 2-bedroom house with like 6 people. There were still many times I felt invisible or like I was never enough. I still feel like that sometimes, but I suffer from an anxiety disorder and chronic illnesses that people often don't want to be around, so they just ignore me. I've gotten used to it. Yeah.
I am so
Chronic
sorry.
illness is a thing. So
Some
sorry,
people say
honey.
they get not hearing about it, and oh, I love you, I just don't want to hear about it, and that kind of thing. And it's like, yeah, but it's reality. So
If you're tired of hearing about it, can't you imagine how I'm tired of living with it?
Right. And most of the people, I mean, I know a number of people with chronic illnesses, and while it's mentioned, it's never like, I don't think any of them try to beat you over the head with like, oh, look at how sick I am, or oh, look at what I'm going through. Like a lot of times, most of them that I know, they're just like, oh, I'm so glad I don't have to talk about it, because everybody's always like between doctors and nurses and everything else asking so many questions, and it's like, I'm just like, here, whatever you need.
I think it comes from like social media culture, because like, for example, my Instagram is mostly Crohn's stuff, my posts anyway. And so I have had people say things to me, like my family when I first got diagnosed, like, do you really think you should be talking about fistulas and things on your Instagram? Does that seem professional? They'd say things like that to me. And I'd say, well, I don't know. I have a giant hole sticking out of my ass, and that was really scary, and I couldn't find a lot out there about it. So I like to put it out there for other people in case they're wondering why they have a giant hole besides their butthole sticking out their ass. So no, I'm good with it if they find me through a search engine that way. But you'd be surprised how many people kind of shut that down. Or people who raise money for different causes or things. You know, oh, I'm tired of hearing about whatever. I mean, you'd just be surprised how many assholes there are in your social media feed when you have a chronic illness. You'd just be surprised. Or the people who want to send you, hey, have you tried this herb? Or have you tried this oil? Tell you about the essential oils. Or, oh, let me send you this. No, this is not Tiffany, but I did have someone try to send me teas that would cure my Crohn's. But you know what I'm saying? Like, then there's that aspect. So I think, like, yes, just tired, Deirdre, feel it, exhausted. Yeah.
I just brought you tea because I was hoping to have another tea addict along with.
I know. No, that isn't even what I mean, I knew that would happen because you had just brought me tea, but that isn't what I meant. Tiffany was not like that, but yeah.
Eva caught me. I missed her answer earlier, but I did go back and find it. So Eva says, every time I gave a family member another chance and they dropped me again, or most of 2020 and 2021 and 2022. We're an island of 3, my tiny family. It's not just me, so it's not so bad. I love that.
I think we all kind of felt like we were our own little islands over the last couple of years.
I only got out of society for the 4 weeks the governor had Georgia shut down. Other than that, I worked 60, 70 hours a week every week through most of the pandemic.
Oh, wow.
I lived in an amazing privilege bubble that allowed me to stay in a senior citizens facility for 2 years.
For 2 years.
Like Cocoon, the movie. Just my life.
Let me see. I do want to echo JC's or Eva's comment here to JC. A lot of people did fail you. None of it was your fault. And we all hope you never feel that alone again. And you do know how to reach us. You do. And I do want to say for everybody watching that JC was angry with her sister for years, but they're good now. They often talk. Did find out she tried to get custody, but the mother wouldn't let her. Yeah. I'm glad you guys have mended things. Yeah. Morgan echoes, sick of living with it way more than you're tired of hearing with it. Hearing about it. And I talk about it more now because I'm sick of people telling me not to. This is my reality, so you're going to hear about it. I love that. It's the bravery for me.
Yeah.
It is.
Take up the space.
Let's see. Eva says, I'd wager it's mentioned a minute fraction of how often the speaker thinks about it and thinks about venting about it.
100.
Oh, yeah.
And JC does say, that's what drew me to your channel, Morgan, when I first found you. I was like, oh, hey, someone else who has different ailments and disabilities and anxieties that I can relate to. It's true.
We all found our own little anxiety corner.
Yeah. Our own little space of everyone who actually understands the struggles that we live with every day.
Klonopin buddies.
Wow, in 2 years, first time in a grocery store.
Wow.
That's a lot.
That is a lot.
It's big.
Deidre says, well, my parents are ministers and they are super religious people who believe I'm claiming illnesses when I even mention it. I even took a hiatus from YouTube thinking no one would want to see me with rheumatoid arthritis or fibromyalgia flares. Baby.
Oh.
I get the religious aspect. I know people because the idea is that you speak your world into existence. And so the thought is that if you're saying it, then you're perpetuating it. They used to tell my mother that sometimes when she would talk about her kidney disease.
Fibromyalgia, especially when paired with rheumatoid arthritis, being an autoimmune disease, like that is such a horrible pairing, though. Like that must be crippling to live with. Deidre, you're a writer with rheumatoid arthritis? You are a strong woman. Strong woman. Honest to God. I hope you're using dictation or something. Eva says, our safe place, which I agree with.
Yeah.
Yep.
Deidre, I hate all that energy.
JC, you got to be starting to use dictation too. Babes, take care of yourselves. There are tools out there.
I
tools out there so that your bodies don't break when you do what you love.
Yeah, for a
Eva,
second, I was getting ready to say I thought JC did dictation, but I forgot she doesn't like to change things.
she doesn't. Eva says the little just got a second dose. We're going to take bigger steps soon. Quite the adjustment after so long, but it'll be okay. Fun, even though Barrett is moving away.
I'm
Stop.
sorry. I won't be that far though, Eva.
Eva, whenever you want to go bug him, I will ride with you.
Come.
I'm so sorry, Morgan.
Oh yeah.
Convinced you to go off the meds.
Oh, I've heard this from lots of people in the Crohn's community and different faiths too, where this weird, and I shouldn't just tie it on faiths because I've also heard it from people with hucksters on social media, again, selling like snake oil. But yes, like fate, telling them to go on faith that, it's sort of like what Tiffany said, but a little different. Sort of like if you pray hard enough, it'll go away. Your flare will get better. You must not be faithful enough. You must not be. It's sort of like a weird, I don't know. I don't understand it. I left that cult long ago.
Yeah, I'm not big on letting my health ride on some magical sky fairy.
What's the magic spaghetti monster gonna do? Uses noodly appendage to cure my illnesses? I don't think so. Nick says he never brought up his chronic illnesses because he thought he could get rid of it, but realized he couldn't. Just stop telling people when he was in pain because it's easier than saying it. Yeah. Yep.
Let me just clarify for Deirdre, not to discount Christianity at all. So totally get there are folks that are Christians, even in this room, for whom we love. It wasn't a good fit on me. That dress wasn't the right look for me.
He looks better in red.
I do.
Nia says she's heard that too. If you say have an illness or my illness, then you're speaking it into you.
Oh, I hate that idea. Like it's just, I don't know. It just seems like you're denying reality. I don't know.
My mother used to say there's a reason God made doctors. So there must be a reason, to have healers. Like, what is wrong with you?
Exactly. I learned, like, the faith I grew up in, other than the whole, like, homophobic, racist part, they had nothing to do with healing. Like, if you were sick, they were like, go to the doctor.
Yeah.
We'll say a prayer that the surgery works. Like, it's like normal stuff. But again, like I said, the homophobia and the racism was sort of a deal breaker.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true.
Modern medicine. Yep. It's a weird guilt trip.
I've been at my insurance company for years and it's not working. So.
Here we go. Yep. I can have faith and still go to the doctor.
What about science isn't miraculous to anybody?
Totally. Absolutely 100% totally. Or art or anything else. You know what I'm saying? Like every amazing, I mean, I just don't understand why we try to section these things off and make.
I think it's the idea of, well, okay, I can't say that for everybody, but I think for some people it's the idea that if you have faith, because the Bible so much speaks about God being a healer and that, like the miraculous things in the Bible and the laying of hands and all of that, that your faith should be strong enough that you can receive that type of healing. However, the part that they miss is that it wasn't just Jesus that healed, and it wasn't just, always faith. Sometimes it was a doctor or a healer or somebody else. And, unfortunately, we're not living in biblical times, as my aunt likes to say. She's like, the same way that the world evolves, sometimes your faith evolves.
Yeah.
And so you have to look at it as, like my mom said, God gave us doctors for a reason.
Right.
You can't discount what they've learned. You can't discount what they can do.
Well, in the far end of my faith, the Southern Baptist far end of our faith with religion, where they'd say, no, medicine's bad. That was all about God's will. It was all belief system that like God's will is God's will and you just don't mess with it. And like that always boggled my mind. It'd be like, wait a minute. So you're talking about that giant cancer that's coming off of Uncle whatever's neck. Like he's just gonna let that happen? Mom was like, well, that's God's will. And I was like, well, God's messed up because
we also don't have rampant leprosy anymore. I mean, like something had to cure that.
Yeah. So anyway,
You know?
I was thank goodness for doctors. Didn't marry one, but
I feel like that's that same kind of train of thought that only profits those currently in power, right? It's that same train of thought that says, oh, I'm poor because God wants me to be poor. This is the struggle he's picked for me, right? This is we're wealthy because we have faith, right? Faith delivered us our wealth. And if you just have faith too, you will one day be wealthy and healthy and happy like I am, right? And it's just another way to disenfranchise people and to manipulate them in order to get what you want out of them, to take the fruits of their labor and, steal their money.
I thought it was fantastic that one of the most shit upon people in the Bible is named Job, which is spelled in English job.
mm-hmm.
That's like it's
an irony
symbolic of work in capitalism. Like if you have a job, you're going to be shit on this much. And there's this idea that if you just have faith and if you accept it as, the thing that is your assignment, your soul's curriculum for this life, and you can tithe yourself out of it, and then God blesses you with all these goats. I don't want goats. I don't even want a job. I just want money. Where do I get the money without the job?
Marry a doctor. That was the earlier lesson.
Yeah.
Excuse us for not getting that lesson until too late. Our apologies.
No.
Unless you're my cousin, she says marry a pilot. Because she says they have money and they disappear.
That's what I'm looking for.
I'm considering putting my husband through pilot school. What's their average pay is what, $250 an hour right now?
Large math equivalent part. Just FYI, I've looked into it, and for us,
he's so good at math. He's so smart at that stupid stuff.
You lucky lady.
I know. He wanted to be an engineer, but I think I might make him a pilot. Goddess doesn't put food in our mouth, but yet we eat. That is true. It's like that story where you had the person in the sinking boat who said they were going to wait on God, and God sent 3 different people to save him, and he drowned.
Exactly.
You got to heaven and said, "Why didn't you save me?" And God said, "I sent 3 people to save you, and you turned them all away." Yeah.
Yep.
Deidre says, "See, there are just things I jive with, and some things I won't. Very feculent."
Thanks.
It's such a useful word.
Just full circle right there.
I think we're all team get Jena a sugar daddy.
Yes.
So
or sugar mama or a sugar anything.
Exactly, a sugar person. I watched a delicious documentary on Anna Nicole Smith and forgot the contributions she gave to the American Society by marrying Howard Marshall, who was an octogenarian in a wheelchair. Listen, that lady knew what she was doing. I look at it now and I think that was pioneering that I should have been paying attention to. That was my generation where I was asleep at the wheel because, I missed my chance to grab me a billionaire 80-year-old while he was fresh. I won't say young, but fresh, alive.
Yeah.
And, take him down the old Viagra train.
Sugaring, though, is, from what I've explored of it, most of the individuals who partake in those websites and want to be who are following the commandment to be the
Yeah.
the sugar papa, the 11th commandment. Just now with the overturn of Roe, it's like I don't want semen near me ever again. Just like keep that shit to yourself.
Mm.
And a lot of them have stipulations in the contract that say there will be no condoms. I will nut in you, and you accept this
No.
on these conditions. And there's this very icky toxic masculinity that is in that world where they're not somebody who has a vasectomy, that you are more at risk. And so that's what sort of turned me off of the idea of sugaring, because I have thought about it. I was like, well, that's easy. It seems like a win-win. Everyone gets laid. I get money.
Yeah.
Where's the problem unless that person is married and the spouse is unaware?
Right.
But then the disease transmission and possibility of pregnancy and the inability to terminate really sets things back. So all these rich ass Republicans who want to be sugar daddies are going to have a full Lisa Strata moment on them, and no one's going to fuck them. And then they're going to reverse shit because they ain't getting laid because people are afraid of getting pregnant. So I'm waiting until we hit that moment in time, and then I will look into sugaring again.
I want to just plant an idea in your head.
Okay.
An idea, right? Between the ages of 18 and 26, my sister had no less than 12 sugar daddies.
Nice.
Right?
Wow, good for her.
Only 2 were sugary sugar daddies. The rest were all diet sugar daddies.
I'm confused.
And I just want to plant that seed in your head of getting your rent paid with nothing but conversation.
Well, Morgan Lee has a really good
I might be that right now.
Yeah.
That's what they did. They went to amusement parks. They bought her clothes, her entire Lolita outfits. I mean, she had thousands and thousands of dollars worth of this most beautiful dresses and cosplays and everything paid for. Because they just wanted to see a non-sexual picture of her enjoying herself in her pretty new dress.
Nice.
Wow.
And I just want you to maybe marinate on that idea.
Yeah, I'd be open to that. Or, I don't know about a sugar diet. You know what I want? Does anyone need a sassy gay friend? That's what I'll put out an ad for. I'll be your sassy gay friend. You want someone who's going to be unreliable, show up late, moody, have something negative to say about your party. Here I am.
What was this, Jena? What were we talking about? You know, how rich people just kept artists and scientists on hand to help with their craft. And they did the same with their court jesters. And I just feel like, Barrett, you would rock a jester.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure I was in a past life. Are you kidding? All the drop I've been carrying from generation to generation. That's where all this money comes from. Years of pain.
Yeah.
Let me see here. Sugar money.
I would like to find those, but those are the unicorns.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mind blowing, but I mind getting knocked up.
Sugar baby for an ace.
Oh, we need that on a t-shirt. I don't mind blowing.
But I mind getting knocked up.
Old. That might have to be the retreat tagline.
Yeah. There's a lot of things I'll do for money, but there's some things I won't.
Let me see. I think that wraps it up for the night, you guys. How are we feeling?
I think we ended it on the perfect note.
Yeah, this is so fun. It was fun.
We came full circle from our first conversation of the day. Would you guys, since we never did intros for Tiff or for Barrett, would you guys like to start on your outros and tell everybody about you?
I'm clairvoyant. I do drag shows on Sundays here on Gwenna's channel. Feel free to come. I take singles and fives. I only do Olivia Newton-John numbers and occasionally Gaga. Don't even get me started with Britney. It was a process. I went through it. I've moved past it. Tiffany?
I love it. Barrett, do you want the link for tomorrow's stream? I mean, excuse me, Claire, would you like the link for tomorrow's stream?
What time are you tomorrow? Since the time was my problem tonight.
7 Eastern is 6 Central.
Send it to me. I will likely still be in Columbia driving back, but I'll probably join from the car just to say hello.
Cool.
So yes, email it to me.
Can do.
I really should have gone first. How do you follow that?
Clairvoyant. Ow.
Hello, everybody. I am Tiffany. I'm dull in comparison to Claire over there. I'm just over here with my podcast, This Great Life. My scribbles and PJs. This month, some more in PJs. So come hang out, have us some more. And I will be on the AWC tomorrow talking about Scrivener.
I think Get Scrivener was so good. It was such a good presentation. Like, it's that good, you guys.
Nice.
Really, really good.
Oh, and my Kindle Vella comes out on July 26th.
Yes, it does.
And you can join for back or behind the scenes content on my Ko-fi page. It's fun.
Her Ko-fi page is linked below.
Today, I think I posted my cast of characters.
Ooh.
Okay.
Ooh. Jena.
So I'm Jena. I'm down with blowing, but not getting knocked up. I have an Instagram and YouTube page called Jena Gordon Writes. I have a trilogy of erotic novellas coming out on Amazon at the end of the summer. And speaking of Amazon, if you would like to purchase the highly selective thesaurus for the extraordinary literate, these kids here have Amazon affiliate links. And if you purchase it through one of their links, you'll help them out and you will learn more words like feculent and piscatorial.
And I found there's 2 different dictionaries by the same people, so you can get the whole set.
You can get the whole set, kids.
Yep.
And if you can't find that, you can also look up the naughty writers or naughty words for nice writers thesaurus as well. I'll recommend that one.
But I'm Gwenna from Gwenna the Winna. I'm not necessarily down with blowing often because it irritates my TMJ. So I don't write erotica, but I write fantasy. And if you want to read some of that, it's down below in my Kindle Vella. I'm hosting streams every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday so we can get words in. And I love you all. We will see you tomorrow at 7.